Hello, welcome back. I'm on my lunch break, hanging out with the girls. This is Daisy. This is Iris. They are my pups, and they like to keep the squirrels at bay. Since it's that time of the year, I thought I would do a spring tour of the food forest and kind of walk everybody around, talk about things that have changed. So, the first area that I wanted to highlight is my kind of potting area. I've been taking the neighbors' raspberry plants that have been spreading across the fence line and just kind of potting them up and selling them. So I've been selling them for like $5 or $10 a piece. Works out great. People love them. And these are red raspberries. I actually don't know what the variety is. They're just kind of like a mostly thornless variety. And they tend to like make little thorns at the bottom, and then kind of like later they go thornless, which is interesting. But these are black raspberries, and then these are covered up with fence because they have persimmon seeds in them, and I've found that the squirrels really like to eat them. So keeping them kind of protected more than usual, because even though the dogs are out here, they can't keep everybody at bay all the time. So that's that. And then over here, this is our black raspberry circle. And the strategy that we've been using to prune these things is what was highlighted in the permaculture orchard. Steven Subkayak said that you take like, I think 3 branches every year, and you kind of bend them over into this arch. And as you do that, they all come up and flower. So we get a lot of fruit off of this, quite a lot. And then over here, if you've seen my previous videos, you've probably seen the little ground or a bush cherry, and it looks like some of them got pollinated. So looking like we're gonna get to try these this year, which is cool. These are actually seedling, I think, lovage plants. Yep, I think these are lovage plants. So like that lovage I'll show you in a minute. It's puts out tons of seeds every year, and looks like finally some of them took. So here's kind of the tour of the black raspberry circle. It's a half circle, and then in the middle got our mulberry tree. This is an Illinois everbearing, and it's taken some damage over the years, but it's hanging in there. And then underneath of it is the autumn olive. And then underneath of that is a comfrey plant. So I like listening to Steven at Skillcult, and he has some interesting ideas about what to do about the understory here. He's in Northern California, and we have kind of a similar summer climate to Northern California. So what he was saying is, instead of putting comfrey here, which I put under I think all the trees actually, he said you should use something like daffodils or something that die down, and then mulch. And then the tree won't be competing with the grass, which I think is an interesting idea. And I might explore that in the future. Inside the raspberry circle is garlic that I've kind of forgotten about and let go. And there's strawberries kind of in and about. And yeah, that's the black raspberry circle. More comfrey against the chicken area here. And then here's the lovage plant I was talking about. This thing gets like, I don't know, 12, 15 feet tall. It gets enormous. And it's been spreading every year. So it's getting like to be a really big beast of a plant. And I think this is actually already a flower stalk, or at least it's working on it, because the leaf shape changes a little bit. So that was it. It's interesting. Like, I would like this to, I mean, if I had an ideal lovage plant, I think I would have it show up kind of like in the fall, because that's when you want to make soups, and that's what you would make out of this. It has extremely strong celery flavor. So that's that. And then this is Sweet Sicily, which has a very strong licorice flavor. Oh, and I hear a little pinhole. Interesting. So I just extended the, oh yeah, there's a little pinhole here. I extended the water line. I put some like hard water line. I got like another, I'd say 20 feet or so out of it, because I had the hose like all the way over there at the fence, and I've kind of like strung this along and kept it off the ground so that the mice or whatever don't chew it. Anyway, looks like I have a little hole I need to fix. Next up would be persimmons, and this is an early Fuyu, and everybody asks every year. Yes, they're light green. Yes, they will grow out of it. It's nothing really I've done. I don't know why they're doing that, but they become like a much darker green pretty quickly once the leaves like fully extend. So this one had a really heavy bearing year last year. It's going to take a break this year, I think. There's going to be maybe a few flowers, but not many. I think kind of the same patterns repeating. It's like autumn olive for nitrogen fixing, comfrey for mulch, and then strawberries underneath. And then lately we've been adding currants. And these are easy to add. You just take a stick and just stab it in the ground. So, piece of cake. And why did I choose early Fuyu, early Jiro, Saijo back there? It's tucked in, and then Nikita's Gift I'll show you in a second. It's because I wanted to have a mix and match of like non-astringent, which means you can eat them when they're still hard. So this one and the early Jiro non-astringent. And then Saijo back there and Nikita's Gift are astringent. And those are ones that have a really powerful astringency to them, and you want to dry them out or wait till they're really, really ripe like water balloons, and then you can eat them. That's the persimmons. And then I've got the Asian pears here in the middle. It's got 1, 2, 3, and this is Chojiro, Korean Giant, Sayuri. And I'd say of these three, I'd say Sayuri, Chojiro are really good. Korean Giants, it's okay. And then I've grafted Hosui on Korean Giant, and I've grafted it onto my European pear back there, which I'll show you in a sec. And it looks like the pollination maybe wasn't so good this year. I know there was a lot of flowers on this thing, and I don't see very many fruit developing. Like here's one. And there's a couple more up there, but not too many. Looks like it might be a light Asian pear year. Same pattern as the other ones. Autumn olive in the back, comfrey on the bottom, strawberries. This one has yarrow back here, tucked under there. And then it also has like a chocolate mint. Whoops. I hear a bee. There's a chocolate mint. It surprisingly hasn't taken over yet, which you'd think it would, but it hasn't. We changed the pattern up a little bit with this. This is Nikita's Gift. This actually has sea berries next to it. 1, 2, and those are female. And then we have a male sea berry tucked behind that Korean Giant. And it looks like this is going to try again this year to put out a lot of, let me see if I can get a good shot of it, a lot of flowers. Can you see that? See that? That's a flower. And I was checking this out the other day, and there's a flower like on every node. Well, not every node, but a lot of them. And the pattern seems to be with Nikita's Gift, which is an astringent variety. It seems to put out a lot of fruit. I mean, a lot of flowers. It sets the fruit and then it drops them. So I don't know what is going on with it, but maybe it just needs to get older. And I've heard people say it just needs time to mature. These cherry trees, this one, these beast trees, those were here when we got the property. Same thing with those apples, that one, that one. So like there was some existing things on the property. The raspberry patch over here was existing. Over here we've got a gumi actually. This one's a good one. It makes these really big gumis. This one is called Tillamook. And if you get a chance to get Tillamook, it's a really good variety. The gumis are they're like triple or more. And then tucked under here we've got a sea berry, and then this is an actual True Black Mulberry. So this one I'm excited for because I've heard those are really, really good. And then I've got a currant stuck under here, and this is actually a marshmallow. This thing's actually pretty happy here. You'd think it's marshmallow, like it grows in the marsh, but it's perfectly happy in dry locations too. And I think marshmallows originally are from Egypt. I don't know, but they're from a much drier climate. Got lots of cherries setting on there. We'll see what happens. Every year we get a rain right around when they're starting to ripen, and they break. Same pattern here. Comfrey, currant, and then the apple. So we're following the food forest model, which is we have an overstory, which is going to be semi-dwarf trees. We don't really. I mean, we have room for full size, but we don't want to do that. Semi-dwarf is going to be the canopy. Then we've got bushes underneath of it, and then like a herbal layer. And then nature has inserted the climbers. This bindweed is like impossibly hard to get rid of, so we're kind of just going with it. And I've got some clumping bamboo back here, and I've put them, like, a couple of them died actually, which is weird because bamboo is hardy. Or hard to kill, I heard. There was one behind this lilac, and there was one over there, and it's still like really struggling. Yeah, these cherry seedlings are getting big. My wife joked that we should just take like pots and just stick them under the cherry tree here and just let the seeds just drop in there and start. Which, you know, I might do that. Free trees for me. Well, free trees to sell. It's a monkey puzzle. A little hard to see because it's getting jammed up in all the garlic over here. The reason I've got all this garlic around it is because when it was in a pot, the squirrels like to dig it up and put like peanuts in there or whatever. But if there's garlic in there, they don't like to dig. So they just leave it alone, which is nice. That's kind of my little hack for squirrels. This is a Fuji. This is here when we bought the property. I've grafted a lot of things onto it. And it's kind of gotten pretty out of control. I was pruning it for a little while, but it's just gone. I can't keep up with it, which is kind of okay. I mean, we're going for the food forest look, right? Yeah, I know. It's messy. We know. Same thing. This is an unknown apple. It makes these little like golf ball size apples. I have some previous videos on it. I've also grafted other things onto it as well, like this one. Spitzenberg, I think, is this one. Yeah, I've gotten Newtown Pippin on there, Bramley Seedling. Yeah, there's a bunch. Here's the Sijo persimmon. This is a more upright form. It's more like, you can see it, right? It's got a single trunk. And it actually, the trunk looks like it's split down here, and then it has two stems that are competing to be the central leader. I actually need to pick one at some point, and I was thinking that maybe the one, sorry, my allergies are getting to me. I was thinking it might be the one that has the fence around it. And then the other one I was thinking of actually turning into graft wood for the American persimmon seedlings that I'm starting. So I think that would be cool. I think this is going to be a big year for this one. It looks like it's going to overproduce. So if I don't want it to get into the same pattern that early Fuyu did, the smart thing for me to do, which I'm saying this to remind myself, take some of the fruit off once it sets. Because early Fuyu showed me that they can way overset, and then you end up with fruit that like doesn't have enough sweetness to it. I don't know. It was weirdly insipid, some of them, and then some of them were fine. Very strange. So yeah, it's good to thin fruit, I guess, when the trees are smaller. This is a Bartlett, a European pear that was here when we got the property. it overbears like crazy, and I've had branches snap off of it before, and I've worked on making a new central leader for it, and I think I've managed to get it working. I followed Fukuoka's method of like, because he has like a archetype or like a prototype for what the trees want to look like, and then you can kind of prune in that direction to get them to go back to what they were before. That's another monkey puzzle. This one's not doing so good. I don't know what's wrong with it, but a bunch of the branches died. I'm hoping it grows out of it. We'll see. These things are really sharp. Yikes. We'll see. If it does grow out of it, that would be good, because we're planning on making these the long-term overstory, because they'll last like 1,000 years. Another European pear. This was here when we got here. Not a whole lot to say about it. It's okay. It's a Bosch. It's not bad. I do like the Asian pears a lot better though. We snuck a chestnut in here. It's a seedling. These are blueberries. And then over here I've got the elderberries, and they've gotten a lot bigger this year. They look a lot more lush than they usually do. And these are, I think, Hashberg and Corsair, I think. And man, they produce a ton of fruit. Quite a lot. Far more than, I think this is either Ginsho Purple or Thundercloud. This is more of an ornamental variety, and it is fruiting a lot, but the fruit is smaller. And it doesn't have as much. I guess it's smaller. It's not as juicy. So, yeah, I mean, it's cool to see these things coming into shape. Like year to year, the changes are just enormous. Here's a loquat. Loquat's hanging in there. Oh, it's making some new leaves now. That's good. Yeah, happy about that. The yuzu is still hanging in there, although it doesn't look great. This branch looks dead now. That branch looks dead now. This branch looks dead. I can't believe how much damage this thing took. I think it's going to wake up once it starts getting warmer, and we have a heat wave coming this week where it's going to be into the maybe 90. And I've noticed last year that once it hits like 80s or something, it starts to perk up. So we'll see. This is a evergreen. This is an evergreen blueberry. It's like a southern rabbit type. It's kind of getting taken over by bindweed. I'm gonna have to fix that. And this is a Korean green tree, or green tea rather. Green tree. This it's pretty hardy. I didn't do anything with it, and it was totally fine. It even looks like maybe some of the flowers may have gotten pollinated. I don't know, but it looks pretty happy. Yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty happy with that one. It should grow into like a nice little bush, and then since it's shaded by the elderberries here, I think they actually prefer that. So I think this is probably an ideal spot for it. What else do we have? So over here is my it was a garlic patch for a bunch of years, and it still is. And you can see it. And look at all this garlic. It's like insane. I probably have enough here to plant like the entire acre. Maybe not that much, but it's a lot. There's comfrey over here. This area is like really messy. And then there's remnants of previous years planting some potatoes. And it's interesting, no matter how many times you sift through the soil, these potatoes seem to always find a way to come back. There's another one. What else do we got over here? We have a pomegranate, which actually is really happy now. That's awesome. I got this from Fruitwood Nursery. Very reasonably priced. They gave me little starts, and I think they were like $5 or something. It's like really good price. And over here, I tried to sneak in some like, oh, this is gonna be tough to pull back. I tried to sneak in some little things here. If you can see it right there. I don't know, it might not focus. That is, well, actually this one doesn't look good. These are blue tan oaks, dwarf variety. Then we've got stinging nettle, which I need to cut back and make tea out of that. And then over here is the seedling apple that showed up. And then I grafted it into Bramley seedling and Wixen. Oh, I've got some flowers now. Check it out. Yeah, this one's a tip bearer, which makes this very difficult to prune. Actually, it looks like I don't see any other flowers on there. Weird. It's interesting that this showed up here because this area used to be like a gravel pit that people would, there was like RVs or something parked on it. So like I've tried to put my shovel in here before. It is like concrete. I'm surprised an apple showed up there. Right, and then in here, this is a transitional period for the chicken area. There was grapes covering this, but since the grapes are poisonous to the dogs, now the dogs found a potato. Since the grapes are poisonous to the dogs, I cut them down and I replaced them with hardy kiwis. However, they're still getting going. It's going to be a while. But maybe this is the year they start to take off. And then this is the blackberries that I planted. These are, I forget the name of the variety. I'll put it in the description, or I'll put it in the video. But they're supposed to be like the sweetest variety released that's currently available. And my friend Chris Logan's like, well, we need to verify this for sure. A fun project. Here's another one, and then there's another one tucked back there. Now in the northwest where we're at, this is zone 8B because people ask pretty often, and we're right outside of Portland. Basically anywhere that you don't maintain becomes blackberries, and it's like the Himalayan ones with like razor wire on them. So since I'm reading the land here and the land says grow blackberries, I figured grow blackberries. So I planted 1, 2, 3, and I think they should take off this year because last year was like a settling in period, and then next year is the zoom period. So that's pretty much the backyard. We'll take a look at the front in a minute. I guess one other thing to note would be the pawpaws. I didn't get a chance to look at those yet. They're looking pretty good. I think next year, like I said in the previous video, I think next year is going to be the year they might start producing. Hopefully. It's been a very long wait for them. So we got autumn olive here. The bees really like the autumn olives. They make a lot of flowers. Nitrogen fixers, man, they go crazy. And here's the pawpaws. They're just starting to leaf out. I got a currant underneath of them. Strawberries. This is going to be the overstory in the area. That's the chestnut that I started from a seed. And that was a cross-pollination of the two I already have, which is Meridivale desusa and Silverleaf. So Silverleaf is more of a dwarf variety. Meridivale desusa is a more upright variety. So we'll see which ones they take after. And I don't know, I'm hopeful that maybe next year they start making chestnuts. They're very reliable from what I read. Once they start, they'll keep going like every year. This is a mango pawpaw. Hanging in there. More currants. The currants are easy, just another pawpaw. This one's flowering, but it doesn't have any pollination partners at the moment, so I don't think we're going to get anything out of this. I don't think they're not self-pollinating. They have some interesting flowers. I've read online that they stink, but I can't really smell anything. Like if I get up close, I don't smell anything. So I don't know what people are talking about. Maybe they have like really powerful noses or something, but I can't smell anything. So I think this one might be the one that flowers next year, just based on how tall it is. And then if we've got this one flowering and that one flowering, like, that should be enough. We'll see. And I've got more currants here. More currants. And then another seedling chestnut. I just am constantly growing things, and then you know, sometimes we put them in the ground. So that's it basically for the backyard. I hope you enjoyed, and we'll take a look at the front in a sec. Very lush.